my thing was I never looked Hawaiian, so I never felt Hawaiian. Even though I spoke it with my dad, I still speak it with my dad. I went to Hawaiian immersion school. I always felt like an imposter because I'm like, but these people are like way more Hawaiian. Because at my Hawaiian school, they would say I'm the Asian kid, but when I go outside of my Hawaiian school, I'm the Hawaiian kid.
Right, dude. That's so important that you say that, because like I feel like people were gonna see me if they're watching this on YouTube. And they're going to go, yeah, that makes sense. He has imposter syndrome. Holy shit, that guy looks like a colonizer. When I see you, I go, well, this is it, man. You're living the dream. Like, you got like Olelo Hawaii. You have a podcast called Keep It Aloha. Like, you certainly look more Hawaiian than me. But for you to even admit you have imposter syndrome to your audience is really huge, because I think the thing that surprised me the most is even the people, and you can take this with anything. Even the people that we think have it totally put together with whatever, they have just as much imposter syndrome. Like, you telling me that you have imposter syndrome makes me go like, think you're crazy at first, but then feel better, where you just go, oh, this is just a normal thing. I've been making sketches about being like newly sort of spiritual and screwing it up. And I thought that just people like me were gonna relate to these videos, and some of these sketches I've made have had like millions of views, and I have pastors writing me being like, dude, like, thank you for talking about this stuff. Like, this is something I can't talk about, but you can talk about it. And so you go, a pastor has imposter syndrome about God? Like, okay, I'm probably fine. You know what I mean? Like, you have imposter syndrome about being Hawaiian, I'm probably fine. But I think the problem is, this goes back to the ego again. What we should be doing is having these conversations and uniting. But a lot of times what happens is we feel so much shame about our imposter syndrome that we just kind of hold it in, or we turn on other people. So, I have family members who will like make fun of me when I try to like speak pidgin. And I know it's not because they're mean. I know it's because like they're dealing with their shit. They're dealing with their imposter syndrome, and that's how they're showing it. I'm dealing with my imposter syndrome by kind of hiding. When in reality is, if we just kind of came together and talked about our imposter syndrome, we could learn the language together. We could, you know what I mean? Like, we could help each other. But most people, they think it's just them. They think they're crazy. They're the Lolo one. And so they're going to hold it in, or they don't want to be a bother. You know how scary it was for me to message you or all of my Hawaiian activist friends, you, Kalehua, Kiliona, I was so much more nervous to write you guys than, asking Bert Kreischer if I could come on the podcast. Like, asking some super famous comedian, because this, to me, it's like, it's so spiritual. It's like who I am as a person. I'm more nervous to talk about Hawaii than I am comedy or performing or whatever. But I think that if you have imposter syndrome and you're listening, whether you look like Hello Hawaiian or you look Haole or whatever, you got to find a community, man. And you got to, like, this podcast to me, and I'm sure for so many listeners, is that community when you don't want to talk to people, but use this podcast as a bridge. Use it as like a gateway drug to actually start building community, to start, finding people that you can like really do something with, whether it's learning the language, learning more about your history, just like finding Hawaiian friends, just to, the times I like voice memo with you and my friends in Hawaii, even some who I haven't met, it makes me feel like I'm at home instead of, trying to pull stuff out of my family, which is like so hard. Cause my mom was also, she's 70. So she was in that generation that kind of got like completely screwed over when it came to like culture and stuff like that.
Well, mahalo for sharing that. And I totally agree. I mean, my goal with this is to bridge the gap.
Yeah.
Between the modern, the traditional, all of that. I feel like I'm the perfect hybrid of somebody who is like very traditional, but still modern Hawaiian influencer or whatever. I fall in the category of an influencer. And I'm just here to show people like, hey, you're not alone.
Yeah. If these two idiots can do it, you can do it.
Yeah, exactly. So there are people out there that are going through the same thing that you're going through. And, all of the stuff we talk about, it all relates to mental health at the end of the day.
Dude, totally.
Because, these things are what keep you up at night. These things are what affects your self-esteem. And knowing that you can talk about it openly and not feel ashamed of it is so empowering.
Mm-hmm.
I love talking about my insecurities. I love talking about my flaws.
Yeah.
Even stuff as simple as just like physical features, like, hey, do you like my new haircut? Is it weird? Okay, it is. Okay, well, I can change it.
Yeah.
Like the beauty of it is like we can always change it. Like nothing is permanent.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best thing once I learned like nothing is permanent. Like maybe I don't like how my body looks right now.
Yeah.
Well, I can change it.
Yeah.
Like that's the beautiful thing about it.
Yeah, dude. We're so insecure, but you're right. Once we can talk about it. I mean, I walked in here to a room of 4 guys. And you guys were like, how are you?
Is this the start of a joke or something?
No. There's a Hawaiian, a Korean, and no. And like the first thing I said was one of your producers was like, you look like an MMA fighter. And I'm like, I'm fat and I can't stop eating plate lunches and I hate my body. And like, I sounded like a high school girl. But I would so much rather be open about it than, just hide. Because that's when you start, for me, when my mental health goes from like, today's a rough day to, I'm in trouble, I'm spiraling. It's when I'm not admitting to the problem, but when you can kind of just like be like, okay, here's what's happening. I'm on vacation. I haven't gone to the gym. I haven't worked out. I'm enjoying this trip, but I'm starting to get a little self-hating with my body. I'm in this new relationship. Oh God, I'm nervous she's going to see fat Jamie and not love fat Jamie, whatever.